Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got 4 replays in the Eastern Alliance Era 3 Tech Tree Heavy Tank, the T-72M2 Wilk. Now if you do like the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe down below, as it really does help out the channel. And yes, the Wilk, it is the entry Era 3 for this new branch of Tech Tree that's gone off of the Romanian-Czechoslovakian line, right, that was already existing in the game. It's the entry Era 3 on the newer section of the line that goes from the T-72M and the T-55AM. Obviously, the opposite entry era vehicle for this is the brand new TR-85M1, which leads off of the TR-125. Out of the two, this is the far better of the tanks. And in fact, actually, for an entry era 3 vehicle, this is really not that bad. It's actually a pretty decent tank. It can stand up for itself quite well. The armour on it is hit and miss, but that's better than quite a few of the entry era 3s, which usually are just pure paper for everything. The gun handling on it's pretty good. The DPM on it's pretty nice. The only real downside I'd give this vehicle, truly, is its penetration. And even then, you've got pretty decent penetration on the premium rounds when you get fully upgraded. Not great, to be fair, for Era 3, but good enough. And on the whole, for an entry era vehicle, for the first tank in the era that you'll get when you go through this line, yeah, you know what? It's not too bad. Usually I say that entry era vehicles for both Era 2 and 3 generally tend to be just get past it kind of tanks that you sit there going, just get past it and get to the better vehicles, right? Now, this tank's alright. You'll have a good time with it. Obviously, being an entry era vehicle, you won't stand up to the top era vehicles quite that easily, but you're capable enough to stand up for yourself, which is what you want, realistically, from these vehicles. So, this first replay is completely stock in the vehicle. We have a 60.3 km/h top speed, 18 km/h reverse speed, 850 horsepower engine, which is 18.76 horsepower per ton ratio, meaning that we do hit that top speed pretty easily. If you wanted to go faster and run the traction system, you could get to 66 very easily in this vehicle. We've got 40 degree a second hull rotation speed with a 42 degrees a second turret rotation speed, so the turret does turn a little bit quicker than the hull with the build that we run, which is quite nice indeed. 514 meters of view range means we can spot well enough for ourselves in this tank. We've got 0.63 accuracy during rotation with 1.31 accuracy during movement with this stock gun, which means that it's not fantastic for an Era 3 because there's quite a few Era 3s that are going below 1 on the movement and below 5 on the rotation, but it's still pretty damn good, meaning that even when you're full chat on the move, your aim circle very rarely blooms out. And you have a 2.08 second aim time as well, which means that it does aim in fairly quickly anyway, but yeah, your aim circle very rarely blooms out that much when you're on turning the turret or rotation or just on the move in general in this tank, which is lovely. 0.22 accuracy at 100 meters as well is also superbly accurate, just like most guns in Era 3, meaning that, yeah, you'll hit most of your targets as long as you're aiming it correctly. You've got a 6.19 second reload, which is pretty nice. It's 5.3k DPM with this build that I run, which means that it's got pretty good DPM as well in Era 3. Not fantastic, but good enough to stand up for itself. Obviously nowhere near the TR-85M1, which is in the 7Ks, but still, for 550 alpha, we'll take it. And yeah, because it does have 550 alpha, it also has 690 alpha on its HE rounds, which have 155 penetration, which can be pretty nice to use against lightly armoured vehicles. You've got 493 penetration on the standard APFS DS round, with 579 penetration on the premium APFS DS round, with 1650 meters a second shell velocity, which is glorious. The shell velocity is fantastic. But the penetration at 493 is low on the standard shell on this stock gun, which is something to bear in mind, that you are going to struggle to pen quite a few vehicles in the front, in the lower plates and stuff that you might expect to be able to pen with quite a few other tanks. Because there's quite a few tanks that you can pen in the front quite easily if you have about 600 pen, which quite a lot of vehicles do in Era 3. But when you're getting 493, that's where, yeah, he's kind of struggling with that. 597, though, on the premium is good enough to go through a lot of those spots anyway. And it means that just a lot of the time in this tank, you're going to have to make sure that you're doing exactly what we're doing here against this 2A4, where you get round the rear and the sides of vehicles to make sure that you're truly going to be able to pen them. Although we didn't pen that guy, we tracked it because RNG! Thanks, RNG! But yeah, that's basically the statistics while this tank is fully stocked. So what do I run in terms of recruit and equipment on this vehicle? Well, I did say with my build I got all those statistics. On this crew and equipment, I run fairly similar to the rest of the line. Born leader, rapid reload, 6th sense, steady aim, snapshot, run and gun, the rapid aim, trap mechanic, deadeye, the advanced loader, the gun stabilizer, and vents. Vents to get the best out of everything on this vehicle, get the best accuracy, the best aim time, best DPM, you know, mixed in with the advanced loader to get the best out of the reload if I can. Gun stabilizer to get the accuracy during rotation and movement down as low as possible. And that's mixed in with snapshot and running gun to make it so it is as superb as it is, so that this gun is always ready to snap in the shot where it goes. And then rapid aim to make the turret traverse better on this vehicle, because otherwise it would be worse than the tracks, and it's nice to have that better turret traverse. We also run Deadeye for the memes, so that we have a 6% increased chance of damaging modules when we pen vehicles. It's probably better to run Armour angling on that one, but I just run it for the memes because it's nice to have the higher chance of setting people on fire and stuff. So we finished that first game with the 4 kills, 6.5k damage, 4.5k assistance. That's 10k combined, which is a first class. And a pretty damn nice game there with the 1688 base XP on the Wilk, which, like I say, even stock, I was playing it, I was expecting the worst, right? As I always do with entry-era vehicles, and especially when the stock, I expect the worst. Because you know what they're like. You've played tanks in Era 2 that are entry-era, like the T-72, the Centurion 9, vehicles like that, or you've played the entry-era vehicles, and I mean, take the opposite Eastern Alliance branch, right, where you got the TR-85M1, which has a phenomenal gun and phenomenal DPM, but everything else about that tank kind of sucks. You've got the T-80BV, which is utterly atrocious. It's an atrocious tank. The gun handling on it's terrible. The DPM on it's not that... Well, DPM on it's okay, but you can't really use it that much because the gun's shocking. Mobility's pretty decent, but its armour is terrible. And it gets set on fire all the time. It's truly a dreadful tank. And then you get to this tank and I was thinking, oh, is this going to be more like the BV? No, not at all. It is a pretty damn nice tank to play, and I thoroughly enjoyed playing or grinding through it. It was like, okay, this is actually a decent grind, you know? And for having played all of the vehicles now, this is definitely the way to go to the Moderna. Don't go through the TR-85, TR-125, and the TR-85M1. Go through the T-72M, T-55AM, then the Wilk here, and then the PT91 Twardy as well. Go through those vehicles because they're all damn solid tanks. You'll have a lot of fun with them, and you won't suffer like you will in the 85, the 125, and the M1, pretty much. But yeah, this second replay, we are now basically fully upgraded. The only thing we don't have is the top gun. So we've still got that poor penetration, but we've now got the top engine, which is a 1,000 horsepower engine, which means we've got 22 horsepower per ton ratio, and we travel at 67 kilometers an hour, which means we're an extremely mobile heavy tank. We've got 23 kilometers an hour reverse speed, which is great. Well, I say heavy tank, we're just an MBT. Everything in Era 3 is an MBT. It's not heavy tank, medium tank, etc., etc., but I digress. Yeah, we've got great speed now. 531 meters of view range now, which is fine. We've got a 44 degrees a second hull rotation speed, which is faster than it was, with the 44 degrees a second on the turret rotation speed as well. So the turret traverses just as quickly as the hull, so you can bear that in mind on this vehicle. Our accuracy during rotation and movements got better, down to 0.66 and 1.25 respectively, because our turret changes that effect at times, and our new tracks. So basically, yeah, our accuracy during turret rotation and movement is got a little bit better. Not really so much that you're going to go, yeah, it's so much better. It's just a little bit better, you know. It's a little bit nicer in that regard. But yeah, so we've got the top turret, top tracks, top engine, etc., which makes it just that little bit nicer to play now in terms of the mobility and the turret traverse and all that good stuff. And especially you feel it in the mobility because you go from that 60 kilometer an hour top speed to 67, which is delightful. And we're on this second replay, which is on Westfield. And on Westfield, we got that northeast spawn, and we pushed aggressively down the 8-9 line, which basically none of their team went to. And I've decided, okay, 292, you're going in front of my friends. I'm going to shove him out in front of my friends, use my engine power to get him dead. We actually tracked him with the ram as well, which is glorious. And that, we wasted a few hit points there, but we got rid of that tank, and then we started to push in behind the, well, we started pushing behind the TR-85M1, which also got my team moving after them too. Because at that point, our team were kind of stalling against the tank that is, well, a very good tank in the 292 and the TR-85M1. So we just pushed the tempo. And then we've got rid of the other 292 that was in the corner, and now we know what's left on the enemy team. It is all the vehicles that were on top, which was where most of their team went, because their team just completely forewent the other flank. And that means that we can now spot them up on this ridge line and try and farm up as much as we can. We're up to 5.5k damage and 2.8k assistance, which is a good time, because we've got a bit of a tracking, bit of assistance on that 292. It was a bit of a brutal move, not going to lie, but he must be going, who's pushing me out? Why is my teammate... Oh! It's an enemy. Oh dear. You know? Oh, there goes the B... What we were saying about T8 BVs getting set on fire? Set him on fire, finished him off with that fire, 6.6k damage. Can we get a shot into the back end of the Thumper now? Who has got himself behind a building. Can't quite see him, so we're just not going to get the shot. The TR-85M1 is now surrounded, and there's a light tank and a TD somewhere. So the TD gets spotted at A3. We're not really going to get anywhere near that. And oh, the BMP's over there as well. So we're just seeing if we can close down the distance to get a shot at least into this TR-85M1, who I'm expecting to just evaporate. In fact, he has. And we do get the kill RBRT on the move. And that, you know what? For my terrible driving, pat on the back, that was glorious dodging of that building. The Weasel's been closed down by the TD. Can we hit this Weasel on the move? Oh, it just flies at... You know, it always seems to be the case when you shoot at Weasels. The shot just flew over the top of him. We bounce off the back of the Weasel. What? God, RNG! What are you doing, my son? RNG just gave us the big middle finger there. We had the shot just fly over the top of the Weasel, only just. Then the shot hit the back of the Weasel and went, ha! Lol, and bounced. We're now going to come over the top and try and see if we can finish him off with a shot into the distance, and it goes over the top, but realistically, that one wasn't RNG. That one was just a slim to nothing shot in the hope that I could possibly hit it. So the Weasel's still running away. We know whereabouts he's going. He's not on top anymore. He's gone down towards the cap. So he's either going to go run to K1 or he's going to run down into the middle of the map. So we're going to see if we can cut off the Weasel in case that is the way he's gone. You can see me using True Vision, looking over the ridgeline, seeing if I can find him. There he is. Trees and foliage in the way though, so we can't quite see where he is. We tried to hit him. We missed. Waiting on the reload, trying to keep track of this Weasel if we can, but I just can't see where he is because of all the trees and the foliage. I've not seen him run away or through the gaps, and it's like, okay, this guy's not... Has he gone through the gaps? Have I just missed him? This is where he was looking like he was going, right? And we've not seen him, but unfortunately for us, he's actually pulled a full handbrake turn, and that means he's now through the bridge. So at that point there, I get detected. I'm like, you know what? No, I'm not dealing. And there we go. There the Weasel is. He gets spotted up. Light tank's going after him. I think smoke's been popped. And in fact, the Weasel's coming towards us like, hello, you little pest. This is my chance. This is my time. Oh. Okay. The M3A2 Bradley shuts him down, and we don't get the chance to kill the Weasel. But we finished the game with a nice total. 3 kills, 6.9k damage, 3k assistance, again 10k combined. Nice game there for the Wilk with the second class, 1592 base XP. Like I say, it's a pretty enjoyable tank. I definitely enjoyed grinding through it. It was not one that I went, oh, I've got to play that again, right? Like a lot of the other entry era 3 vehicles, I felt like I was capable enough in it that I could stand up for myself, and that's exactly what I wanted. Also, great driving, you moron. That's the map order. The enemy team's the other way. Some morons driving this tank, I tell you. So we're on to the third replay. In this third replay, we are now fully upgraded. We are at our fullest potential in this tank. And that is, we've got the 125mm 2A46M Cannon V2. And that means we've now got a 5.97 second reload, which is 5.5k DPM. We've got 0.21 accuracy at 100 meters, 0.49 accuracy during rotation, with 1.16 accuracy during movement, meaning the aim circle basically is non-existent. It just is, it's pretty much always fully aimed, which is glorious. 1.9 second aim time means the little bit that does bloom out, it aims in super duper quickly as well. And that's one of the things why I run the gun stabilizer and all the gun perks, is for the aim circle that you're seeing. And that is the fact that it's just always aimed in, it's always ready to shoot, and that means I'm always ready to use my DPM. Because having that 5.5k DPM is quite nice indeed. We've now got 579 penetration on the standard APFS DS, with 685 penetration on the premium APF SDS, which means that we have the penetration we need to pen everything we're going to face, pretty much, which is glorious for the Wilk. Because, I mean, there's quite a few anterior vehicles, again, that don't even get anywhere near 685 meters of penetration on even the premium rounds. So, we'll take that to the bank and back, okay? And having the nice reload, 550 alpha, the great penetration, like I say, it's a pretty enjoyable vehicle, and it's fully capable. I mean, the last two were with the stock gun, where you got the less penetration, and we still didn't struggle that much. We just had the occasional shot that bounced that you sit there going, oh, if I had the upgraded gun, I probably would have penned that, right? Which is, again, the way it's going to be expected. It is a stock tank after all. The one thing I didn't mention with this tank is the fact that we do have 6 degrees of gun depression, which is not great. It's not good, to be honest. 6 degrees of gun depression means you're very awkward on a ridgeline. But it's slightly better than a lot of the other Soviet-esque vehicles, because a lot of these Soviet-esque vehicles have 4.5, 5 degrees of gun depression, which generally is a little bit awkward, and especially on the ridgelines, like I say, it can make fighting them just a little bit annoying. And yeah, so that 6 degrees of gun depression is, again, not good, but it's not like it is on some of the other vehicles. So we're on this third replay. In this third replay, we are here on Redshire. On Redshire, we pushed straight across with our team into the tanks that were isolated at D9. And now we've pushed back with our team that's currently pushing, because it's Era 3, you know. Wolf packs are a thing. Stick with your team if you can. And we've stuck with where our team has gone. We've tried to get some early, easy shots into the BMP3, into the T-72B as they ran across. Weasel spotted in the open. Shoot the Weasel in the side. Tracks. We tracked it because, you know, weasels. It is what it is. We managed to snipe the kill there on the Mod A3. We started to be looked at by the enemy team that's all in the distance, and our MX-40 is being closed by this TR-85M1. So I'm like, okay, let's get it. Not sure what that was lag. That was lag. That's what that was. My aim circle all of a sudden became absolutely huge. We fired, and we missed by country mile because lag. That's pretty much what happened with that shot. As you saw, the ping shot up to like 140 or whatever it was. But we did manage to get the shot into the TR-85M1, and we've pushed with our team. We've got 4 tanks coming this way, and it is 6-6. So because we've got enough numbers over here, it's all about focusing vehicles down and getting guns out of the game. So the K1's out. We're going to see if we can get shots into the T-72 so that we can get rid of his gun, because this is a big gun. It pens really easily. It does lots of damage. But then we notice the 292 coming in behind us, and like I said, I've got my friend with me. SDRV-122 gets a shot into my side, which we've got to be careful of. 292 in front, though, is being shot by my friend. So if we can get rid of the 292 and get ourselves into position to shoot that, that would be great. We've got 4 tanks in front of us now, and now me and this other heavy tank are actually a little bit isolated because our TD and our heavy tank have fallen back, which means we've not got the numbers to fight these guys now as they're coming charging in. The T-72B from earlier on ends up ramming us, taking a fair bit of our health, and we get finished by the 292 on the move. Thankfully, though, our team did, well, it ended up into a Weasel off, and the Weasel carried it, and we finished with 8.5k damage, 1700 assistance, the Confederate medal, and again, a pretty damn nice game there for the T-72M2, again, 10k combined, and it was a really nice game in general for the vehicle, and it just ended, sadly, in the typical Era 3 way, when your numbers end up getting low, and the enemy team realise it. Say there's 4 tanks against 2, they will just YOLO you, even if they don't know there's 2 or 3 tanks sat behind that could start farming them, they will still YOLO you, and yeah, death comes quickly in that regard. But we thankfully won because it ended up being a Weasel against 3 tanks and he took them all out. And that's just Weasels, right? So we're on to the 4th and final replay. And this final replay, we are here on this map, which is Swamp. And on Swamp, what we're going to do is do what always happens in Era 3 from our spawn, and that is charge down the JK and then possibly up the 1-2, pushing towards the position at E4. Because if we push to E4, we can shoot the people that maybe camp at C6, and any of their team that cross the open at, well, down the 9 line in general, and you get free shots. What you never want to do on this map from this spawn with this team is do what our heavy tank is doing right now, up at E0, and push by yourself up the 9-0, because it's just going to be death very, very quickly. So we try and get a shot on the move into the 477A. Sadly, we ricochet off his side, but I'm trying my best to get to this ridgeline before we take a big hit. But sadly, an ATGM flies straight through our armour. And that's the thing with this T-72M2 Wilk, is the fact that sometimes ATGMs get absorbed by the armour, and they don't do anything. And sometimes ATGMs just go straight through. But that's just the weird armor profiles in Cold War in general that end up having that. So you think, aha, I've got ERA, right, or whatever, spaced armor slapped all over my front. I'm just going to not get penned by that. And it just says, ha, lol, okay, I'm just going to pen you anyway. But the one thing that's happened here on Swamp is that our heavy tanks and the rest of our team generally have actually camped back in the castle, and that's something that happens also quite often on this map, is that people will go camp at the back of the castle, and that can be a bit awkward at times. But thankfully, they have actually managed to push out, because what happens is we take the initiative, we manage to get rid of the first 2 or 3 tanks that come this way from their team, and then all of a sudden their team come flying back, and our team's still camping in that castle area at J3, and we just die, and you sit there going, oh, it's great. But the other problem is that we've gone around like a donut, and they're in our cap, we're in their cap. So now it's a situation where it could be that they start capping and just cap us out, and we don't cap them. Which, yeah, it's just this Era 3 in general, and quite a few maps where the teams just rotate round, and then whoever caps, caps. Or whoever manages to defend it enough wins, right? Which can be pretty frustrating. And that's just Era 3 in general, and that's why it's always the case of if you don't stick with your team, you're just gonna die, because unlike World War II, where you might have 3, 4, 5 people go a different flank or try and stick and defend a base, and then they could possibly still win from that situation. In Era 3, it goes downhill very, very quickly in that regard, because the amount of tanks that overwhelm you, and just because of how accurate everything is, how much penetration everything has, how fast everything is, it turns into a real slog so fast that your hit points just disappear. It doesn't matter that you've got like triple the hit points or double the hit points, they just vanish, and it's game over. But yeah, that's just Era 3. It can be frustrating in that regard. But then again, I digress. We're up to 3,058 damage. My controller died in the middle of this battle, which was a real thing. You've just seen that. And we changed the batteries, and now we're getting going. And that's caused a weird thing with the audio, in the fact that it seems to be a little bit delayed now, just because the controller died. Weird, but that's just a bug with the recording. Don't adjust your sets. So we're up to 3.5k damage, going for that shot into the lower plate of the STRV-122A. Sadly, with 579 penetration, it's a little bit more of a struggle to go through the lower plate of that guy. If we were firing 685 pen, yeah, we'd go through that quite easily, but with the 579, it's a little bit harder to go through. So we're above the Thumper. Went for the turret roof of the Thumper there, but sadly it just ricochets off the top. It's a little bit awkward to go through that guy's turret. Hopefully try and kill the, I think it's a Bradley, but it's Sod's Law. We went for the kill on the Bradley, but sadly we ended up hitting the Thumper instead, and he went, "Get down, Mr. President!" And he basically saved the Bradley, which was pure chance. But now the Thumper's doing the thing that's bad for him, which is giving us his side, which is easy shots. We were trying to track and pen the Thumper there so that we could stop him in his tracks and get easy pens. We finally get the tracking shot there, and he gets shut down. But sadly for me, the Thumper, being the Thumper, has very, very good penetration and went straight through our turret front every time. And that is the one thing to do against the T-72M2, same as most of the Soviet vehicles, to be fair, or the Soviet-esque vehicles in general. And that is, if you've got about 650 or 600 plus pen, and if you're talking about stuff like the Thumper, KWS-3, Leclerc T4, T-292 Malo, you know, the 850 plus penetration vehicles, just shoot the turret fronts of the Soviet-esque vehicles and you butcher the poor things. They go, "Aha, I'm covering my hull, you can't see it. Oh, my turret face, why did you have to punch me in the eye?" You know, that's the sad point of it. So, my driving nearly gets me killed because, well, my driving was terrible there, but thankfully we managed to get away from the gun of the, I think it was the Bradley shooting us there, or was it Desert Warrior, one of the two. We tried to get the RBRT shot into him, but it didn't go anywhere near. We're up to 6.5k damage. We get up behind the M1A2 and put a shot into his side. He is distracted with the Leclerc T4, but I don't really want to get too involved in that little fight that they've got there because, well, it's going to end badly for me if we do. And we managed to finish off the M1A2 without taking a hit, which is good because we are a one-shot, so we've got to be very, very careful. The last tank on the enemy team is the AMX-40. He gets shut down by the STRV-122A, and we finished the game with a really nice total there for the T-72M2. Again, the entry-era vehicle. We finished with the victory. Second on the team, 2 kills, 7,510 damage, 1,562 base XP. A really nice total there for the T-72M2, which, let's say, for an entry-era vehicle in Era 3, it's a pretty damn nice vehicle. It's capable, because the one thing you should never expect from these entry-era vehicles is for them to be, like, godly, fantastic, where they're going to go carrying tank games and getting 20k damage easy, like some of the top-era vehicles. They're just got to be capable of defending themselves, which is what this tank is. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success.